Hey guys, this is Illusion Podfic, and today we're going to be reading Glowsticks and Bolt Holes by Hyperius. This is Chapter 8. Bruce was standing before Red Hood and the Joker, battering clenched tightly in his hands and eyes narrowed behind his cowl. He showed no emotion otherwise, no joy in the fact that his dead son returned back to the living, no sorrow in seeing his son in so much pain, hurting, begging for his father to reclaim him and bring him home. He is simply, only, Batman. No Bruce, no father, just the fucking bat. And then he threw that goddamn battering, slicing his son's throat, and to free the fucking Joker of all people. He never came back afterwards. He never came back to get Jason. Batman left him there, and he was going to let his son die again. Bleed out from the gaping wound on his neck. He was going to let his son die to save the Joker, the man who murdered him, the man who... He felt the battering slice his skin, dig into his artery as pain flared through his neck. The Joker's laughter bouncing in his head as it mixed with his fear and betrayal. He heard Batman's laughter join the Joker's, and then he was falling back into his grave, put there by the man he once called Dad. He woke screaming. Hal was there, once again, keeping a safe distance while calling out to the tortured boy, trying to keep calm. Help him ease his mind back from the void of nightmares and shadows and into the real world. The real world where Jason sitting on the brown couch with one too many stains, a large, fluffy blanket skewed on his lap, and a little pillow knocked into the floor, from where he was thrashing throughout the night. His breath was panicked, eyes wide and dilated as he nervously glanced around the room, ensuring there are no clowns or bats lurking in the shadows. There was only Hal, who was staring at him with a great sense of worry and concern, carefully holding his gaze, keeping his expression soft to keep Jason from panicking anymore. "Hey, Jason, you with me?" The boy nodded and felt a drop of water fall into his lap. "Water? Is it raining?" "No, they're inside. Oh, wait, is that a teardrop?" "Okay, good. Can you describe 5 things you see?" 5 things. 5 things he sang. 5 things he sang around him. He cleared his throat, trying to rid himself of the clump lodged in his throat, forcing himself to speak around his sob. "I see, the blanket?" He saw Hal smile softly. "Good. What color is it?" Green. Of course, green. Green Lantern. He wonders how he hasn't connected those dots before. "What else do you see?" "You. And your brown hair. There's the kitchen counter, wood, and the white blinds on the windows." "Good. One more thing." "Couch. Stained." He sniffled. The couches in his warehouse was stained too, stained with Joker's blood, stained the day before he faced Batman, rain falling from the sky as the heavens cried for the tortured son. "Ouch, okay, call me out. Now, what are 4 things you can feel?" "Feel." He reached out, and Hal immediately put his hand in Jason's. "Your hands are, calloused. Nothing like the Joker's hands, or like Batman's gloves. Your shirt is soft. The couch is soft, too. A different soft. And the blanket is fluffy. Nothing like the scratch of his armor, or the sweat trapped beneath his leather jacket." Slowly, as he forces his mind back into reality, the long tendrils of his nightmare begin to let him go, allowing him to crawl his way out of the shadows of the past and back into the now. "Good. Now what are 3 things you can hear?" "Your voice. It's emotional, but not crazy. Like neither Bruce's or the Joker's. And there's, the buzz. I think the AC? And, the neighbors with their little wind chimes. No laughter, no chaotic laughter, no pitter-patter of a heavy storm, whipping its way around them as he forces his father to choose. Good. 2 things you can smell. You, and how you didn't take a shower last night. Wow. And the leftovers we forgot to put in the fridge. Oops." The lantern smiled at him, giving Jason's hand a little squeeze, rubbing his thumb comfortingly over the back of Jason's. "How are you doing?" "Better. Much more grounded, back into reality, and, more importantly, out of his head. Not perfect, of course, not perfect yet. He still aches in his heart and soul. There's still pressures behind his eyes, tears threatening to push through, but no longer spilling. And mine's still racing, but he's back. He's back. No more eyes in the shadows or clowns under his bed. He's okay. He's okay. I'm fine. Jason leaned forward, fitting himself into Hal's arms, much to the surprise of the other man. Hal Jordan was not a small guy, but Jason is still a monster of a man. Hal made do, though. Jason sought him out, sought out his comfort and warmth, sought out him to chase away the demons. Like hell, the lantern would let him down. Plus, Hal Jordan has always secretly loved human affection, so he hugged him back, smiling and holding the poor boy close. You're fine. They both are. They both will be. When Jason began to release his silent sobs, Hal pretended to not notice. And when Hal held Jason just a little bit tighter, placing a soft and fatherly kiss on the crown of Jason's head, the boy's painful sobs began to soften. Though Hal said nothing over the fact, he couldn't stop the way his chest happily squeezed around his heart. It was a good night. The fuck did you do to me? Hal frowned, staring at Jason with utter confusion. He blinked once, twice, took a sip of his coffee, and then blinked for the third time. Okay. His brain is slowly beginning to work, but still not enough to piece together whatever puzzle Jason had laid down. I don't know what you're talking about. You're getting me to... I don't cry on people's shoulders. It's been a long time since Jason's been that comfortable with someone. Frankly, the last someone was Roy and Corey, but even then, it was a different type of comfort. It was friendship, and maybe something a little more. A relationship built on mutual understanding and love, based on being outcasts, and past trauma that shaped their twisted morals. Even then, he couldn't share it all with them. And he didn't share his tears. This is different. This feels more like what he had with Bruce, when he was a boy in green shorts and a yellow cape. When he thought they were a family, he hasn't felt anything like that for years. Since before his death, he certainly never thought he'd feel this way again. He never felt like he'd be so comfortable to be so vulnerable again. To be able to wake up from a nightmare and not shoot the first person in sight just for seeing him cry. He'd forgotten how nice it was to cry into the arms of a parental figure, without feeling as if he'd be judged and scorned. Obviously, it's some magic or curse, or some sort of alien something that influenced his emotional state. So what the fuck did you do? Hal blinked a fourth time, before bursting into a long, loud, joyous laughter, grabbing one of Jason's arms and pulling him into a little one-armed hug. Ever thought it's not something weird, but just us vibing right? Vibing? Yeah, you know, working on the same wavelength, sharing a brain cell, just sharing similar enough trauma to understand each other's vulnerable moments, and not judging each other too much for plausibly unethical actions. Oh, Jason hummed. That makes sense. So, no weird alien magic? Yes, no weird magic, just good chemistry. Oh. Jason's shoulders slumped as he relaxed slightly. Oh, well, then that's okay. Sorta weird, but okay. Jason reached up, scratching at his neck in a nervous manner. I mean, I guess it makes sense when you put it like that. Hal huffed. Don't think too much about it. It'll just make it weird. He looked up from his coffee, watching Jason scratch his neck, specifically his scar. I meant to ask, when you woke up you were clawing out the scar on your neck. Are you... Who did that? Jason huffed, pausing his nervous habit and shaking his head. No, not something I'm going to talk about right now. Okay. Hal knew better than to push. If you ever want to talk about it, though, he winked. I got your back. That seemed strangely sexual. It was the wink. Definitely the wink. Hal sighed. I was debating doing a thumbs up, but that seemed cheesy. I didn't think through the wink, though. Yeah, the wink was definitely a bad idea. Should have thought it out more. Both men stared at each other for a long moment before Jason burst into a soft chuckle and Hal's chest warmed. Nightmares and batterings forgotten. Bruce Wayne made a meeting with Lex Luthor to discuss a possible future partnership. After all, Luthor vowed to be a better man, and then he was released early for good behavior, and with a court order to attend weekly therapy sessions. Essentially, he was set free with the hope that he has turned into a new, better man. The people knew better, but the people also got none of the cash Luther used to convince the court he was now good. Brucey, however, believes in everyone, which is why he made a new campaign to give people second chances. The Second Chance Campaign, as he uncreatively called it. So, why does Lex Luthor not deserve a second chance? He does too. Of course, it's actually for Bruce to get close, to see his facilities and speak with them. He wants to see what he can dig up prior to breaking in as Batman. It's like recon, just with some more moving parts. Bruce pulled on his suit jacket with well-practiced finesse, looking over his shoulder at Clark eyeing him. See something you like? Yes, but that's besides the point. Clark huffed. He's learning to just roll with Bruce when he gets in these teasing Brucey moods. Are you sure this is a good idea? Yes, why wouldn't it be? I mean, a lot of people won't like you, Bruce Wayne, for teaming with Luthor. Bruce shrugged. I know, I already spoke to my HR team. We're making it a part of the Second Chance campaign. Who better to kick off the campaign with than a supervillain? And when he, inevitably, gets caught for being evil, by us, what would you do? Then we say everyone deserves a second chance if they're willing to remain off the path of evil. If not, we will be the first to ensure they face the consequences of their actions. Clark huffed. I mean, I guess. It does work, he supposes. Bruce has a plan, at least to ensure that the campaign won't be run by Luthor's horrid actions. And the people who actually deserve the second chance will still be able to get it. So there's no logical objections Clark could bring up. Something just feels wrong. Can you bring me at least? You can bring me to document the exchange for your campaign, you know? To see all the good work you're doing and witness how Lex Luthor has actually changed. I get the sarcasm on Luthor, but why is there sarcasm about me doing good work? Because you know what I mean. Bruce smirked. I do. It could work. I can call Luthor and make sure he'd be okay with me bringing a reporter. Wayne pulled out his phone, dialing the number he's gotten all too familiar with. Holding it to his ear as he turned away from Clark for the facade of privacy, as he made the request for Clark's tag-along. Clark shifted, doing his best to not eavesdrop on the conversation. Something doesn't feel right. It feels like something is going to go horribly, terribly wrong. He doesn't like it, not one bit. Besides, he hates the fact Bruce is letting his reputation drag. Sure, Bruce may be used to being a part of all the gossip, but damn it, he still hates the fact Bruce will do this to himself. It's not fair, but at least it won't last too long. Hopefully. Is this really the best option? Yes, Hal smiled brightly, truly believing he looked cool in his cargo shorts and Bahama shirt. He didn't look cool, and he barely looked like a tourist. It's a tour of LexCorp. You say all this shit about recon, and this is recon, but a more fun recon. One without any killer robots. Jason couldn't deny it, really. It is an excuse to get inside and take some pictures. He just didn't like going in as Jason rather than Red Hood, but it is a good idea, so he'll suck it up and go with the flow. Well, not totally with the flow. Okay, but why do I have to dress up like that? 'Cause I'm embracing my cover as a tourist. Are you sure the cover is tourist and not Try Hard Dad? Hal paused, shrugged, and smiled. Same thing? I wouldn't know. He never had a real dad. Okay, not completely accurate, but he's allowed to be angsty every now and again. Just don't expect me to dress like that. But Hal's smile turned wicked as he pulled out another identical Bahama shirt. I got two, so we could match. Absolutely not. Please? Pretty please? I will cry. Jason let out a long, long breath. God, you little... Fine. He grabbed the shirt, none too gently, rolling his eyes at Hal's joyous expression. What he does for this man. As Jason changed, Hal continued to tease the poor boy, both painfully unaware of the little blinking light planted just outside the window of Hal's apartment. Alright guys, and that is the end of Chapter 8 of Glowsticks and Bullet Holes by Hyperius. I hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you next chapter.